Thursday. We are one day away from the weekend, so we'll celebrate that to start off with. My name is Regina Matthews, and on behalf of the Junior League of Gwinnett and North Fulton Counties, we welcome you this evening to our first virtual candidate panel. And we have the pleasure of having with us this evening a large number of candidates who are in key races in both Fulton and Gwinnett counties, and we will hear from all of them this evening. Before we get started, I want to thank a few people who have helped make this possible. I couldn't do it without my partner in crime who serves on the State Public and Affairs Committee with me, Mimi Swift, who's on tonight. She's going to be our timekeeper, which is the most important job to have tonight, because we all like to talk probably way too much. I also want to thank Erin O'Donnell, our VP of Communications, and also Miss Kendall, who is on and helping us with all of our tech support. We couldn't have done this without them. I know I couldn't have pulled this off without them, so I want to send a special thanks to them. Thank you to all of our members who are watching today. And is our president on yet? Christy, are you there? Do you want to say any words to open us up? Christy may join us a little bit later. She may not be on yet. But I want to go ahead and get started. To those of you who are joining us who are outside of our league, I just kind of want to let you know a little bit about the event and about our league. Just know that we are part of the AJLI International, and because of our affiliation with AJLI, we are a nonpartisan organization. We operates for educational and charitable purposes only, and for that reason, we don't endorse any particular candidates and we don't align with any political party. So this event is just open to the public for our listeners and our members to get a feel for the candidates they will be voting for in this critical runoff election. Before we start, I want to begin with some words from from the late great Congressman John Lewis, who is laid to rest just today. Those of you who know me know that I'm really passionate about exercising your right at the polls. So I want to start off with a few of his words. Ordinary people with extraordinary vision can redeem the soul of America by getting into what I call good trouble, necessary trouble. Voting and participating in the democratic process are key. The vote is the most powerful nonviolent change agent you have in a democratic society. You must use it because it is not guaranteed. You can be an ordinary person with extraordinary vision and redeem the soul of America. The vote is the most important and powerful nonviolent change agent you have in a democratic society. You must use it because it is not guaranteed. You can lose it. And with those words, I'm going to kind of give us an overview of how tonight will run, and then we'll get started because y'all don't want to hear from me. I know you want to hear from these lovely panelists that we have with us. We're going to start with candidates for our Senate race, then Superior Court in Gwinnett County, followed by Fulton County Superior Court, and then we will conclude with candidates for District Attorney in Fulton County. We will proceed in alphabetical order for each race. We ask that each candidate, if they wish, to give a 2-minute introduction to tell us a little bit about yourself, your qualifications, and your candidacy. After that, we'll ask each of the candidates the same 2 or 3 questions. And at the end, you can give a 2-minute concluding remark if you would like. First up are the 2 Democratic candidates for Senate District 9 in Gwinnett, which covers portions of Lilburn, Lawrenceville, Decula, Loganville, Snellville, and Grayson, which are in Gwinnett County. These candidates received the 2 highest vote counts in last month's last month, it's almost August. So in June's primary election, these are the 2 top vote getters for this seat. The winner of this race will move on to face the incumbent Republican Senator P.K. Martin in the general election in November. So going in alphabetical order, we'll start with Ms. Merritt. Ms. Merritt, would you like to give an opening remark?
Sure, hang on. I had to secure my dogs. We're like going at it in the back there. So good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having me, Junior League, and Regina for the invite. I'm happy to be here today. So yeah, Nikki Merritt, running for state senate. That is in the 9th district. And I do go into this runoff having won the most primary votes in this 3-person race. I have 47.73% of the votes. So that makes me in the lead in the primary. The second place, Mr. Okoye goes in at 27.39%. And our third place, of course, is with Cheryl Moses, and she's at 24.88. But Gabe and I will be in the runoff. So, of course, I didn't get 50+1, and so we were just shy of that. But unlike some runoffs, as you can see, my share of the vote is not even close, like some races that are running in the runoff. D9 is the #1 flippable seat in the state senate. Georgia voters have already pretty much chosen me as their candidate to lead, and we're asking them to get out there again. I'm confident that they are going to go out again. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't vote for me again if they did the first time. I am the best candidate to lead, and they have chosen me to be the candidate to bring the change in the community. So a little bit about me. If you don't know, I'm a Georgia native. I studied at the University of Georgia. I'm a longtime Gwinnett resident, working class mom. I've served the public in telecommunications for 23 years, while proudly serving my labor union, 3204, and I was fighting for workers' rights and fair working conditions during that time. And before deciding to run, I volunteered for nonprofit Can I, and I helped register over 1,000 voters from 2016 up until 2018. And it was the 2016 election that really got me fired up and really activated my participation from 2016 on to where we are now. And now as a Can I board member, I help coordinate events for community engagement, voter drives, and empowerment. And you know, guys, I'm basically running to make sure families like mine and yours have a voice in government. We need to live in a state where we have policies that reflect our diverse communities and protects our vulnerable citizens here. We need a candidate that will serve working families, and prioritizing people is the backbone of my campaign. It always has been. And we need that now more than ever, at a time when people are looking for candidates to lead with empathy, to read that they want a candidate that's relatable, with honor and integrity. And I am that candidate that has all of that. And I think that has translated with my voters. And that's why I did have the lead that I did in the primary. Social justice matters, you guys. Equity and laws matter. Policies that directly impact our minority communities and our immigrant communities, those matter. And I want to be the voice at the table, advocating for all of you on those issues. So I am asking for your vote again, if you voted for me again, and if you didn't, I hope I can win your vote this time. If there's some questions we need to answer, and you can find me at merit4georgia.com. That's MERRITT, the number 4, Georgia.com. I'm at Merit4GA on Facebook.
Thank you so much for your response. You have hit the 2-minute mark.
Okay, thank you, Mimi. Thank you, Ms. Merritt. All right, Mr. Okoye, would you like to give an opening remark?
Of course. Yes, I'd like to. My name is Gabe Okoye, and I'd like to thank Regina and the Junior League for this opportunity. And as most of you may know, I used to be the chairman of Gwinnett Democratic Party. Before then, I was vice chair, and I made sure that Democrats started running for office, because I was vice chair for candidate recruitment. I used to be very angry when I go to polling stations and not find Democrats to vote for, so I ran for vice chair for candidate recruitment and changed that. And then again, I was angry that the Republicans control this county, so I ran for party chair. I won, and I've changed that. Today we have, out of the 25 elected officials that we have in this county, 18 of them are Democrats, only 7 are Republicans. That's part of what I did. And as party chair, I also made sure that women were not left behind at all. And that was why out of our 13 standing committees, I appointed the women to chair 11 of them. And they did a great job. And I am running because, as you can tell from my accent, I am an immigrant. I want to give back to a country that has been so good to me. I came to this country with not much. I started out as a security guard. Today I have my own engineering company. I'm married with 4 beautiful children, and I'm married to my sweetheart for 26 years now. And I am in this race because there are certain things that are very important to me to do, and that is to represent the poor and working class people of Gwinnett County. I heard, is that the warning?
Thank you for your response. That is your 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Okoye. I appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to give the first question back to Ms. Merritt. Some statistics indicate that women of color are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from complications at childbirth. What legislation would you propose to address this issue?
Get me off mute. The first thing we need to do across the state is fully expand Medicaid. That will give, that will increase our healthcare options and who has access to healthcare. And we need to fully expand that across the state. The other thing I would like to do would, of course, I would sign on to any legislation that would address the maternity mortality rate as far as screening, a lot of pre-screening as well as the postnatal care. You know, I was a mom, when my kids were small, they're teenagers now, I remember what it was like just to, you know, to have a small child and all you can really think about is care for that newborn and care for yourself. And the last thing you need to worry about is your health and your health care and your postnatal care on top of that. So for me, it would be signing on to any legislation that would extend the pre-screenings, that would extend the postnatal care. So yeah, that would be what I would do.
Great, thank you. The same question to you, Mr. Okoye, and I'll repeat the question. Some statistics indicate that women of color are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from complications at childbirth. What legislation would you propose to address that very important issue?
Now, first of all, it is a shame that in this day and age, such is the situation, especially here in Georgia. Most rural hospitals are shutting their doors. That makes it even more difficult for these women to get health care. Now, I agree we need to expand Medicaid. That's number one. But that's not enough, because even if you expand it and you still don't have doctors that they need to go see, especially in the rural areas, the problem will still continue. So we need to start a program where some of our doctors will be required to have their training, mostly in the rural areas, to help to make sure that these women are seen. But I also want to say that I will support casinos in Georgia to stop thousands of Georgians going elsewhere to spend money if 50% of the proceeds of that will be channeled to maternal health, to help to deal with issues like this. So it is important that we find ways to raise money to be able to address issues like issues of women's health. Because listen, I may not be a woman, but I came from the womb of one. And I am so glad I did. And I will always fight for her. Thank you.
Thank you for that response, both of you. Our next question, Ms. Merritt, back to you. Considering our league's focus is on advocating for women and children who happen to be the most vulnerable members of our society, what legislation or what are some of the primary legislative goals you will have if elected to this Senate district?
For women and children, my Primary, and that is one of my primary topics, and it does, when we're talking about women and children, this does affect them as well, is education. Our biggest thing we do in the state legislature is pass that budget. And if you notice this past budget, we did gut, about 985 million from education. And for me, education is priority. That's why people move here to Gwinnett County. And we have to make sure that our education is, education is fully funded, number one. And we want to make sure that, whatever legislation that we do pass, that the teachers are getting the support they need, that our students are getting the support they need, so that no child, no matter what zip code that they're from, they're not getting left behind. We need to retain teachers. We need to make sure that our classrooms are not overcrowded. We need to make sure that all of our schools are equally sourced. So for me, that is a major issue for our women and children, because I know for me that is a major issue. So of course I will want to make sure that in our budgeting that we are taking care of that. And I want to say, as a parent of a college student, we need solutions to address the student loan debt. Our families are getting crushed with student loan debt, and kids and families are being priced out of higher education. And not just higher education, but trade. We want to leave that open as well. So I think that is something that is a major support for our women and children and our families.
Thank you. All right, so Mr. Koye, let's see. I think those are the two questions we have for both of you. Ms. Merritt, at this time, if you want to go ahead and give your concluding remark. Anything you would like to say?
Do I need to answer the question too?
I'm sorry. Yes, that's where I was coming to. For then I thought for a second you would answer the question. So my apologies. Mr. Okoye, of course, answer the question. Would you like me to repeat it?
It's about what programs would we have to help women and children?
Correct. What legislation would you propose?
Yes. It is important. Listen, when I started out life as a married man, my first child was born, and my wife was working nights. So I had to stay up with a new baby all night. And then I still have to go to work in the morning as an engineer. That experience showed me what women go through. So I will start by addressing stuff like that. Listen, to me, no woman, especially poor women, should have to be worried about paying for pre-care and daycare for their children. They can go to work and try to make some money to take care of the children. But we have to have programs for women to take care of their children, pre-care, and also daycare. And on top of that, we need to make sure that we have 6-month maternity leave for women, because it takes that much to, or even more than that, to reestablish yourself after childbirth. So there's no point in putting them under stress, or I have to get this done in this time before I go back to work. So we have to help women where it hurts. Now, as far as professional lives, we have to start by making sure that every woman gets paid equally as their fellow male workers. And you see, that has been in the books. But the bottom line is the CEOs don't implement it. What about putting 1 or 2 in jail to wake them up to start implementing stuff like that? So it shouldn't be a question of helping women. It should be a question of making sure that we restore justice to all, and women included. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Okoye. And my apologies again. That was my attempt to multitask. I was writing and listening at the same time, and so no, please forgive me for skipping.
But I heard it on CNN that you were doing that, so I know you were going to do it. Just CNN said that.
Well, if I'm trending on CNN, then my life is a lot better than I thought. All right, Ms. Merritt, do you want to give your concluding remarks to everyone? Now we can move forward with concluding remarks.
Sure. So again, Nikki Merritt, running for state senate. Please follow me. I am at meritforgeorgia.com. I'm at Merit4GA on social media. I'm usually up to date on anything that's current, and I do always try to keep on top of the issues right there on my page and what's going on in our state. And right now, you guys, COVID is kind of wreaking havoc on all our families and changing our lives right now. I encourage you all, let's stick together as a community. Let's help each other. And above all, we need you guys out voting. I mean, if the topic for the day with Congressman John Lewis is the vote, it is to vote, you guys. I know runoff races are usually small attended, and I know the numbers right now who is actually going out in that race here in D9, and those numbers are very low. So please understand that you must get out to vote at every election, because I guarantee you, those on the other side, they will get out and vote at the drop of a hat. And these elections are so important. They may seem small, state senate, we have sheriff, we have tax commissioners, but it's so important that you vote in every single election. So I really need everyone out voting. It doesn't even matter which side at this point. I just need you engaged, and we of course need you engaged going into the general. So look for me, Nikki Merritt, Merit for Georgia. I'm already in the lead, and I just need you guys to pull me over the top. Thank you.
Mr. Okoye?
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you, Regina, again, and you and the Junior League for this opportunity. Yes, I am asking for your votes to help me get nominated in this race. I'm so happy you heard it from my co-candidate that she got the majority of the vote before. She still couldn't win. Now I want you to try giving me a majority this time and see if I cannot win. So, so please vote for me. I am trained by my training. I'm a problem solver. I'm an engineer. That's what we do, is solve problems. So if I am your rep, you can look at my track record. I solved the problem of I want to say that Democrats in this county weren't showing up. After I became chairman, you can see what's happening now. So I do get things done. Visit www.voteforgabe. That's vote for FOR Gabe, GABE.com. And follow me on that. And hopefully by the night of August 11th, we will all celebrate. Either way, thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you again to both Ms. Merritt and Mr. Okoye. I know that they have another engagement that they are obligated to. So if you need to leave, we'll miss you and we will see you around. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate having you.
Thank you so much. You'll be well.
Thank
you.
Thank you. All right, so moving along, we are going to go next to the Superior Court candidates for Gwinnett County Superior Court. Keep in mind that state judicial elections are nonpartisan, and whoever receives the most votes on August 11th will win their respective election. In other words, this race does not go on to the general election in November. Whoever wins this race will be the sitting judge, at least for the next 4 years. So that kind of explains why runoffs are so important. And as one of the candidates pointed out, they are historically not as well attended as the primary or the general election, but these elections are very important, even at the runoff stage. So going in alphabetical order, we're going to start with Judge Deborah Fluker. And if you would like, we'd love to have you give a 2-minute opening remark.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Thank you to Junior League for hosting this forum. I'm Judge Deborah Fluker. Before I go into a little bit about myself and my background, I do want to take a moment to reflect on the loss and the legacy of Congressman John Lewis. I've been thinking about it a great deal this week with his loss, of what his life's work has been and what it means going forward. And I think about his work and the fact that I get to vote because of a lot of the things that he and others have done in their lifetime. And not only do I get to vote, but I get to appear on the ballot as a candidate for a Superior Court judge. And I continue to be humbled by that fact, that my name is on the ballot and that people have voted for me to be the next elected Superior Court judge. Again, I'm Judge Deborah Fluker. I am currently a magistrate court judge here in Gwinnett County. In that capacity, I was appointed by all of the elected Superior Court judges in 2016 to serve in that capacity, and I have continuously done so since that time. As a full-time magistrate in Gwinnett County, my primary responsibilities are to sit in Superior Court by designation of the elected Superior Court judges. I am authorized and tasked with handling any matters that are within the jurisdiction of Superior Court. In this race, I am currently the only candidate that is presiding over matters in Superior Court and consistently making legal rulings and decisions. That is vitally important at this time when we are experiencing a judicial emergency arising out of the COVID pandemic. One of the reasons why I'm running is because there are currently no elected official at the helm of this Superior Court division, and there has not been an elected official over the helm of this division for quite some time. That is troubling to me as a Gwinnett County citizen and a taxpayer, because we are not only sworn as judges to do our judicial duties, we're also tasked with being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. Right now, that is just not going on. There's too much inconsistency in this division with no elected official overseeing the court cases, overseeing the judicial staff, making decisions about how to keep cases moving to the extent that we can during this judicial emergency.
Thank you very much for your response.
Thank you.
That is your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I believe when we hear that buzzer, Mimi, does that mean 30 seconds or less?
That's the end. That I just did it to the end.
Okay.
So that would be the end of the 2 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Good evening, Judge Schrader. Would you like to give a 2-minute opening remark?
I would. Thank you, Regina. And thank you, ladies, for hosting this event tonight. I know today has been a somber and reflective day. We all appreciate what our congressman did for all of us, not just people of color, but for our entire communities, with all of the peacekeeping, peacemaking, good trouble that he has consistently gotten into for all of us. And I appreciate that, and I honor him as well. And I was thinking that this event might be postponed as a result of all of the services that were held today in remembrance of him. But I'm glad to be here tonight. I appreciate all of you organizing this and giving the candidates an opportunity to share not only their legal experience, but also their community service, and also their willingness to stand in the presence of political attacks and unfounded accusations. I have been, and I still am, the Superior Court judge in Division 3. I was elected in 2012 in a 5-person race. I went into the runoff leading then. I'm going into the runoff leading now. The community spoke in volumes on June 9th when I received almost twice as many votes as my challenger in this runoff in a 5-person race. I think that speaks volumes about what our taxpayers and our community believe about what's happening in Division 3. I have been involved in the community, not only serving in leadership, but also fundraising for many vital services that aren't able to sustain themselves by themselves. And you know what? I'll be respectful of the buzzer, and I'll save my remarks for the concluding remarks. Thank you.
And we, in all fairness, we didn't give everyone a good opportunity to listen out for that buzzer. So that's my fault. So going forward, if you hear the buzzer, that means time. And I didn't explain that. So please don't hold that against any of the candidates. All right, we're going to jump right into the questions. Judge Fluker, it goes to you first, given that we're going in alphabetical order. So as you know, Superior Court judges are tasked with presiding over felony criminal cases. And we know that there are profound disparities in sentencing across the state. However, there are oftentimes disparate sentences handed down even within the same court. What are some of the ways that you will ensure sentences are handed down consistently across the bench in your court while still acknowledging your colleagues' individual discretion? I know that was a long question.
No, I apologize. Thank you so much for that question. Well, unlike the current incumbent judge, I have extensive experience in criminal law, both as a prosecuting attorney, a felony prosecuting attorney for 10 years in 3 different circuits, and as a criminal defense attorney for 8 years. So I've tried as an attorney over my career since 1997, hundreds of felony criminal cases. I've been the lead attorney in hundreds of felony criminal jury trials as both a prosecutor and a defense attorney, and over 20 murder trials. This is why it is also important to have an elected official at the helm of Superior Court who is making these decisions for consistency purposes, and that is not currently going on. I have challenged sentences when I was representing indigent defendants as not being consistent with what a co-defendant received or someone that is similarly situated. As a judge, I have rejected plea offers from prosecutors if I felt that they were not in alignment with other recommendations for similarly situated people. So I think that my voice and my diversity in thought is very much needed on the bench in Gwinnett County at this time, because I am the person who is ultimately responsible for what sentence is imposed, regardless of what's recommended. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Fluker. And Judge Schrader, would you like me to repeat the question?
Oh, no, Regina, that's not necessary. I will continue to implement the same strategies of justice reform that I've consistently implemented during my terms, my 2 terms. Part of my experience that I bring to the bench is criminal defense work. As a matter of fact, I was also a solicitor for several years. And I know that Ms. Fluker likes to talk about her judicial experience, but I also have leadership experience in justice reform. As a representative on the Federal Advisory Committee on Juvenile Justice Reform during President Obama's leadership, I brought all of the wealth of information and leadership skills that I developed on that committee, as well as the state equivalent committee, to the bench. And I have consistently implemented strategies that were not only consistent, but were also crafted to improve the outcomes of all people in my courtroom and reduce recidivism. I have built partnerships in the community with reentry programs, with nonprofits, with the educational institutions that make sure that people are connected with resources to ensure that they don't recidivize, which means that they don't reoffend, they don't come back into the system. That saves taxpayers money, it reduces crime, it restores family, and it builds healthier communities. So I will continue to do that.
That is your 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. I was fixing to say, oh my goodness, I apologize. I didn't hear the buzzer. So I will continue to do that. I'm not one of the judges that Ms. Fluker ever challenged for an inconsistent sentence, because I make sure that all sentences are consistent. I make sure I know all the facts and circumstances of each case before me.
I hate to cut you off. I know we've gone over time. I just want to be fair to all.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the buzzer. Sorry. Did it go off?
It did.
Okay.
Is there any way to make it louder, Ms. Swift?
Yeah, maybe when we're talking, we don't hear it.
Okay.
Okay, but I'll listen
Thank you,
carefully
Judge
for it.
Schrader. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Judge Fluker, going to question number 2. What are some of the community efforts you've been involved with over the last couple of years, and how do those efforts benefit the community or advance justice?
All right, so I am a wife. I am married to a law enforcement officer, a veteran law enforcement officer of over 25 years. We are raising 2 children who attend Gwinnett County schools. My children are very involved in the community in various activities, athletics, and dance. And I am involved through PTA in my school system and very involved in both of my children's schools and activities. I'm also involved with the youth in the neighborhood, and many of the parents in the neighborhood who have troubled youth often come to me for suggestions, and I have utilized my resources as a judge and a mentor and someone who works in the court system to engage those children in what I do to bring them to the courthouse. I have brought various children to juvenile court to see what that process is, to partner them up with other people in the community through sorority organizations and fraternity organizations to mentor youth. I have spoken at various groups that engage in community and civic activities with the youth. So my focus and my primary focus as a judge will be my concern for the high number of youth that are coming before the judicial system for more serious crimes. And so that has been my focus, to get more engaged with the youth, to partner them with others in the community, to get them on the right track. Thank you. I heard the bell, so thank you very much.
Heard it this time. It is a little difficult to hear, so I'm trying to keep my ears open also. Thank you, Judge Schrader. I'm sorry, Judge Fluker. And Judge Schrader, now it's on you. Would you like me to repeat the question?
I don't think so. Thank you. Well, I've consistently been involved in the community in organizations and actually have received awards for my leadership in a lot of these organizations. As a matter of fact, in 2018, I received Justice Benham's Community Service Award given out through the State Bar of Georgia for my participation and leadership in community service. I'll just hit the highlights because we only have 2 minutes. In 2017, I was recognized as the Influencer of the Year by Partnership Gwinnett of the Gwinnett Chamber. And in 2019, I was recognized as a recovery advocate by the Georgia Council on Substance Abuse. And that's because I am in the community mentoring youth. I participate with the STRAP program here and speak with those children, those youth. They're not really children. And I also support nonprofits through my participation in my women's club, through my church, through Navigate Recovery, which mentors and supports people and family that struggle with substance abuse. So I have been boots on the ground. I'm a past president of Gwinnett County's Bar Association, and actually that year we won the President's Award, the Law Day Award, and that when you win the Law Day Award, it's because of the charity organizations that you support, and that was under my leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Schrader. Our judicial candidates are going to get 3 questions, so this is the final question. Judge Fluker, what does restorative justice mean to you, and is that something you consider in how you decide cases?
Well, of course. I mean, I think that there are some disparities in the justice system that need to be addressed. There needs to be a diversity in the thought process. And I know Judge Schrader was in a prior forum when I talked about whether or not diversity is important on the bench and in the judicial system. And I responded that, yes, it is, but not just diversity of race or gender or religion, but diversity of the thought process of the judge, how a judge approaches their rulings in the case, their sentences in criminal cases. So yes, I think it is important for there to be some reform, for judges to think outside of the box going forward, to think of alternatives to incarceration, to not impose sentences that immediately set a person up for failure. That is not something that I ever intend to do. And in fact, I have rejected many proposed sentences because they immediately set someone up for failure. If you have someone with mental health issues or substance abuse issues, imposing significant fines when they have other challenges does not serve the purpose that it should serve. So I think judges need to be more creative and think of more alternative ways to resolve cases while administering justice. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Schrader, same question, and I can repeat it if you'd like.
That's not necessary. I have implemented restorative justice. A few minutes ago, when I talked about crafting sentences to improve the outcome of everyone in the courtroom, not just the individuals that are charged with felonies, but also families and businesses. There are different ways to engage in sentencing these people in your courtroom without ruining their lives, without punishing them, and without setting them up for failure. As a result of the 25 years that I practiced law prior to being elected, and the 8 years that I was also a municipal court judge before I was elected as a superior court judge, I represented many people on both sides. And I have a wealth of experience both in criminal sentencing and in domestic situations in creating outcomes that are much better for people than when they actually entered the system. Like I said a few minutes ago, I have partnered with the educational institutions to make sure that people that don't have their GEDs can get their GEDs. I have partnered with many felony-friendly employers in the community to make sure that people re-entering our communities can find a job. Did I hear the buzzer?
And Mimi, we can't hear you. Okay. That was the buzzer. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge Schrader. And thank you for having a good listening ear. I didn't even catch it.
Well, I heard a high squeak, so I just wasn't sure. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So that concludes our questioning. And Judge Fluker, I'm going to turn it back over to you. If you would like to give a 2-minute concluding remark, now is the time.
Yes, just as I stated in my opening remarks, taxpayers should be concerned that there's currently not an elected official in this Superior Court Division that is overseeing court matters, that is fulfilling their judicial oath and overseeing cases. Now more than ever, we need that type of leadership in our judicial system during this judicial emergency. Justice delayed is justice denied. And inconsistency in justice and not having an elected official who is accountable to the voters and the taxpayers is a problem. This has been going on for far too long. I am a candidate who has the right experience. I am doing the job of a Superior Court judge. I have continued to do so without fail, without interruption during this entire judicial emergency. I have presided over family violence protective order hearings at the jail. I have been on the bench every day this week. I do not get to focus on my campaign during the day. I am at work fulfilling my oath of office. So I ask that the candidates I ask that the voters look into the experience and candidates of the background and make an informed choice. There is no dispute that I have the right experience as I am doing the job currently without fail. You can find out more information about me on my website, which is judgefluker.com. That's judgefluker.com. I'm on Facebook at Judge Fluker, and I'm asking everyone to research the candidates, and I'm humbly asking for you to allow me to continue to be a public servant and continue to do my sworn judicial duties as the next elected Superior Court judge. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Judge Fluker. Judge Schrader.
Thank you. Thank you again, Junior League, for not only hosting this event this evening, but all you do for our community. I am Kathy Schrader. My website's judgekathyschrader.com. And despite Ms. Fluker's best efforts to continue to assassinate my character and impugn that somehow I am the responsible one for any cost to taxpayers for whatever is happening, she's wrong. And I would encourage everyone to continue to research, because you want a judge that's not just experienced, but you want a judge that has the heart for the people that are in front of her and has demonstrated that consistently, not only through sentencing, but making sure that she rolls up her sleeves and she's involved in serving in the community, all areas of the community, not just ones that are comfortable, but everywhere. Re-entry for all of those who need a hand up and not a handout. For making sure that we have nonprofits and organizations in this community that can meet the needs. I am Kathy Schrader. I am your Superior Court judge. I have ruled fairly. I have treated everyone with respect and dignity in my courtroom, and I intend to do so after I am reelected. My website is www.judgekathyschrader.com. You can find me all over social media, and I encourage all of you to go to my Facebook page, go to my social media and my website, and listen to people who came forward and wanted to give testimonies about how I treated them in their courtroom, or how I have mentored them as young lawyers, or how I have just treated them as a member of the community. I look forward to serving you another 4 years, and thank you for showing up no later than August the 11th, and you can vote 3 different ways again this election cycle. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Judge Schrader. And thank you to you both. I know that you also have another obligation this evening, so you're free to leave. We'd love to have you stay if you can, but I do understand if your evening is otherwise obligated. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to move right along here. We are now moving over to our Fulton County races, and we are starting off with our 2 judicial candidates. Like the candidates in Gwinnett County, the winner of this runoff election will receive the seat in Superior Court for Fulton County. So there will be no advancement to the general election. Again, re-emphasizing the importance of getting out there to vote on August 11th or before. Our 2 candidates with us this evening are Judge Tamika Habrowski-Houston and Judge Harris, and we are going to go in alphabetical order. We'll start with Judge Harris. If you'd like to give us an opening remark, the floor is yours. You're muted, Judge Harris. There we go.
All right. Thank you, ladies of Junior League. Thank you all for the opportunity to make a presentation this evening. My name is Melanie Leftridge Harris, and I'm running for Fulton County Superior Court Judge. A little bit about me: I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a graduate of Spelman College and Georgetown Law Center. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and Chums Incorporated, which are 2 women's civic organizations. I'm a member of St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Atlanta, and I'm on the board of directors of CCI, Covenant Community Incorporated, which is a residential life stabilization program for men experiencing homelessness and substance abuse. I want you to know that I have been a member of the legal community for 29 years. The last 10 years, I've been serving our communities as a full-time magistrate court judge in Fulton County. The last 5 of those years, I've been serving full-time as a Superior Court judge, sitting by designation, handling a wide variety of cases. Before coming on to the bench in 2010, I served our communities as a staff attorney on the Superior Court of Fulton County, and on the Georgia Court of Appeals. I was a civil trial lawyer, and I also worked as a prosecutor for the Fulton County DA's office. I'm running for the Superior Court of Fulton County because I believe that our families deserve a judge that is respectful to everyone that comes into court and gives everyone a fair opportunity to be heard in cases to be decided. I understand that every single case is the most important case of the day because for the people connected to that case, it is in fact the most important case of the day. I realize that people who come before the court are in distress, and I recognize that a lot of times people are suffering from mental health issues, substance abuse issues, and homelessness. And I think what is important is to be able to discern that population from the population of people who are dangerous to our society and need to be handled more strongly in the way of sentencing. I wish to support, prayers, and vote on August 11th. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Judge Harris. Judge Hrabowski-Houston.
Thank you, Junior League of Gwinnett and North Fulton, Madam Moderator, Ms. Matthews, and everyone who is in attendance. Thank you for having me this evening. My name is Tamika Hrabowski-Houston, and I am running for Fulton County Superior Court Judge because Fulton County deserves a judge with the knowledge, the experience, and the work ethic to make intelligent decisions in an efficient manner. And I am that judge. My judicial and legal experience have uniquely equipped me for the Superior Court bench. I currently sit as a Superior Court judge by designation in Fulton County Superior Court's Family Division. I make tough decisions in domestic relations and protective order cases. I came onto the bench believing, and now believe more than ever, that people are not only entitled to, but deserve the opportunity to have their voices fully heard, to have my undivided attention, and to be treated with respect by myself, by my staff, and anyone else in my courtroom. I recognize the fact that the decisions that I make in those courtrooms have far-reaching consequences and affect people at low points in their lives. Now, on the bench, I have continued to hone my ability to pivot in an effort to meet the needs of those served by the courts by pitching in to help with heavy calendars and by continuing to hear cases via Zoom during this COVID crisis. Additionally, my legal career spans 27 years and includes a diverse array of legal roles, from prosecutor, federal agency counsel, to sole practitioner, criminal defense attorney. Now, the diversity of my legal experience, as well as my judicial experience, provide me with the experience handling the same variety of cases, issues, and litigants that come through Superior Court each day. And that uniquely equips me to successfully navigate my caseload and make intelligent decisions in an efficient manner on day one of my term. So I thank you again, and I hope to earn your support, your prayers, and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Hrabowski-Houston. All right, we're going to go right into the questioning. Judge Harris, this goes to you first.
Okay.
And you may have heard this question earlier, I'm not sure. As Superior Court judges, you are tasked with presiding over felony criminal cases. And we know that there are profound disparities in sentencing across the state. However, there are oftentimes disparate sentences handed down even within the same court. What are some of the ways that you would ensure that sentences are handed down consistently across your bench while also acknowledging your colleagues' individual discretion?
Let me first start off by saying that I took an oath when I became a judge in 2007. And I take that oath every day seriously. And that is to impartially and fairly impart the law. And I do that and have done that every single day that I'm on the bench. I have 29 years of legal experience combined as a trial attorney and a judge. And so I've been in the trenches as a lawyer and as a judge. And when I step up on the bench, I take every case on a case-by-case basis. But I understand and recognize that there are some people we are mad at and some people we are afraid of. And we need to have judges on the bench who know the difference between the two. So I utilize accountability courts when necessary so that people don't have hiccups on their records that follow them for the rest of their lives. I also recognize that there are some people that need to be treated more strongly because they are dangerous to society. So what I'm saying is that I have a track record that's proven of showing that I have consistency across the board but at the same time, I treat every case individually based on the facts that are before me. And I do that and have done that every single day that I've been on the bench for the last 13 years in total, the last 10 sitting full-time.
Thank you, Judge Harris. Judge Grabowski, Houston, same question, and I can repeat it if you like.
Good, that'd be great, if you could.
Okay. So as Superior Court judges, you're tasked with presiding over felony cases, and we know that there are profound disparities in sentencing across the state. However, there are oftentimes disparate sentences handed down even on the same bench. What are some of the ways that you will ensure sentences are handed down consistently across your bench while still acknowledging your colleagues' individual discretion?
So with respect to the disparities, we know that there are factors that studies have shown, socioeconomic factors, mental health, things of that nature that affect sentencing and sometimes result in disparities. To address that, I think that you have to address each individual defendant totally separate and alone. And you have to do that by looking for facts. You need facts with respect to any issues that may be affecting the sentencing so that you base your sentencing on those facts versus any type of bias, which may be conscious or unconscious, that leads to utilization of those particular factors like socioeconomic status, mental health, substance abuse, things like that. And I think you do have to take into consideration that there are other alternatives, especially when you get to the root of the issue based upon the facts that you've discovered, and you see a need that can be addressed. If there is a mental health issue, we have a specialty court for that. If there is a substance abuse issue, we have a specialty court for that. So you can get to the root of the issue and not just cycle people through without affecting the root cause in the first place. And I think that as long as you address the facts, you are less likely to engage in using any type of bias, either conscious or unconscious. And as far as across the bench, I think that training with respect to recognizing any conscious or unconscious bias is necessary, because you can't do anything about it until you recognize that it may or may not exist.
Thank you for your response.
And am I hearing, and I did it, was it going? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I think I'm having problems with my volumes. So I'm jumping in.
Just shout it out when they're, when they're done.
Or throw up a finger. Throw up the finger.
Okay.
Judge Harris, next question goes to you. What are some of the community efforts you've been involved with over the last couple of years, and how do those efforts advance justice or benefit the community?
I've been out in the community my whole entire legal career. I do think it's important to serve our communities off the bench. I have of late participated in a number of panels for high school students at Mays and Douglas High School and the Atlanta University Center, centered on issues such as domestic violence, cyberbullying, teen suicide, and knowing their rights. I am the judge that the Sheriff's Department brings their youth to for their version of the Scared Straight program. So I get an opportunity to interface with those children on a regular basis before they go off to their next stop, which is the Fulton County Jail. I am a member of an organization called Chums Incorporated, and our mission is, and our motto is, listen to the children. And so I am active in participating and talking to children regularly. I'm a member of Robes in Schools, the Robes in Schools program, the Perkison Elementary School 3rd grade reading program. I am out in the community talking to our children. I have a plan in place for when I'm our next Fulton County Superior Court judge to take youth offenders from the state court judges, if they'll each send me one person, and I'm going to build a program where they'll come and watch me as our next Fulton County Superior Court judge, sitting from my jury box, and we'll talk about what they've seen in the way of felony offenders that have come before the court in an effort to prevent them from ever having to come to Superior Court to see me. So I'm very involved and connected with our communities, our children, and want to move the needle forward that we don't even have to see the number of cases that we see from youth offenders in Superior Court.
Thank you, Judge Harris. Judge Grabowski-Houston, same question, and I can repeat it if you'd like.
No, I think I'm good. Thank you, though. With respect to being in the community and how it advances justice, I think that there's a perception that the Superior Court judges and the judicial system itself is kind of out of reach, and these are people that kind of sit up on high. And I think that to change that perception, it requires you getting out into the community. And I have done that. I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and we are out. We have programs that we pursue. We are out and we are dealing with children. I am part of Enchanted Closet. I volunteer. It provides education for young girls, young men, and they give life lessons. They speak to sex trafficking. They deal with the pertinent issues for children. And I think that just by being present, and I'm always introduced as this is Judge Houston, this is Judge Houston, and being able to see that out in the community along with them, it kind of demystifies the whole position and puts them in a position to kind of want to know more and be able to ask questions and to be exposed. And in terms of my other community service, I am a mock trial coach, mock trial judge. And as far as programs, I would like to reach the children before they get into the judicial system, reach them in the schools, because we don't want them in the judicial system. We want to prevent that. Let them come in and see before they've had any entanglement with the law, and see that that is actually what they do not want, is an entanglement with the law.
Thank you for your response.
Thank you.
I heard it that time.
Judge Harris, back to you. What does restorative justice mean to you? And is that something you consider in how you decide cases?
Thank you for the question. Restorative justice is a theory of justice that emphasizes repairing the harm caused by criminal behavior. Said in layman's terms, it is a way that we can take the cases that come before us, administer justice in a way that doesn't cause a great deal of harm to the person that is in front of us and to the community at large. By way of example, in my court, where I've sat for the last 5 years full-time as a Fulton County Superior Court judge, sitting by designation, we have at our convenience, at our disposal, the opportunity to sentence in a way that doesn't mar a record. These are young folks who maybe want to go to college or have a clear record to get a job, or we want to buy a house at some point. And so what we want to do is look at ways where we can restore them such that they don't mar their record. And so our accountability courts assist with that. We have a mental health court, there's a DUI court in state court, there's a drug court in Superior Court, and we're able to sort of send cases that are appropriate to send to those alternative accountability courts so that folks that are in those court systems can leave without damage to their record. And so I am a proponent of accountability courts with respect to eligible offenders in that regard.
And I think that's the buzzer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Harris. Judge Grabowski-Houston, same question, and let me know if you need it repeated.
No, I'm good. And again, restorative justice, it repairs the harm that's caused by the crime. And you involve the victims, the offenders, community members. And I think the specialty courts do play a big role in that, because you have an opportunity to allow an offender to be cycled through the system and receive help so that they come out on the other side not having the same issue that they went in with the expectation that the behavior will not be repeated, that the same harm to the community won't occur. And I think that by having, when you have people in those programs, there needs to be a collaboration between the agencies that are involved. That includes the bench, that includes the DA's office, the public defender's office, so that you can come up with a standard set of eligibility criteria and then be able to look at each individual defendant or participant and see what programs need to be tailored to their specific need, that underlying issue, as well as their specific alleged crime, and then their particular victim and the community, so that all areas are addressed in going through that particular specialty court, because I think that that is the actual aim of those particular courts, and they just need to be utilized much greater, and there needs to be more collaboration between the agencies that are involved in order to have more success.
Thank you so much for your response. And we have concluded the question and answer portion for your race. Ms. Harris, or Judge Harris, excuse me, if you would like to give concluding remarks, you may do so at this time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present tonight. And thank you for all the work that you do, Junior League members, ladies. As a wife, mother, longtime Fulton County homeowner, I know that protecting our families is our #1 priority. That's why for the last 10 years, I've worked hard as a full-time Fulton County Magistrate Court judge, the last 5 years sitting by designation. I understand that when people come to court, they are usually in distress. They are upset because they are suing someone, or they're being sued, or they're a defendant in a crime or a victim of a crime. I want you to know that as our next Fulton County Superior Court judge, I'll continue to preside in such a manner that people who come to court are assured that they are heard and that my decisions are thoughtfully and lawfully made. I'm a Spelman College and Georgetown Law School graduate who knows that being compassionate and fair is essential.
Uh-oh, I think we lost her connection. It'll probably take her a minute to get back on. Ms. Judge Habrowski Houston, would you like to go ahead and give your concluding remark at this time?
Sure, if you'd like for me to just go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind, and we'll let Judge Harris back on. I think she had, what, probably about 30 seconds
30
left?
seconds, yeah.
Okay. If you want to go ahead and do your concluding remarks, Judge.
All right. I started tonight with how I would be the judge that Fulton County deserves, and now I want to end with my why, to give insight into why I pursued and continue my current appointment on the bench. To start with, I can say it's not the flexible hours that give you that great work-life balance, because that's not it. It's not the great pay, because it's not that great, and it hasn't been changed in about 20 years. But what it simply is this: I love my job. I am truly, as I sit on the bench, I am truly living out what I consider to be my purpose. I came into the law with the desire to use the law to help people and leave them better off than when I met them. And in the midst of this very grassroots campaign where we've relied a great deal on word of mouth, social media, my purpose is confirmed by just the unsolicited comments, calls, texts, and everything from former clients, interns, attorneys, former colleagues, just relating how in some way I have impacted their lives. They've related their experience with me in the courtroom, and they're showing their support for my current journey. I also believe that public service has been and continues to be a great vehicle for me to pursue and live out my purpose. So throughout my career, from the prosecutor's office all the way to my appointment on the bench where I sit now, I have been in service to the public, and even through my community service. So as your next elected Superior Court judge, I will continue to be cognizant that I'm a public servant as a Superior Court judge and remain accountable to the residents of Fulton County. I will also continue to work hard to impress upon those coming through the system that I care about the outcome of their cases. This is not a responsibility that I take lightly, nor is it one that I take for granted. And in that same vein, I don't take my supporters or the voters for granted. And each day that I sit on that bench, I strive to make not only myself and my family, but the supporters and voters who have placed their trust in my abilities proud. I ask for your support, your prayers, and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Habrowski Houston.
I'm back.
Harris, I see that you're back. And I think we got about 30 seconds left. So if you want to give any remarks, you know, I understand technology, you know, has its own way with us sometimes, but welcome back.
Thank you. I'll take my 30 seconds and thank you.
Sure.
29 years of legal experience as a judge, staff attorney on the Superior Court, and this Court of Appeals, and a trial lawyer has well prepared me to serve as our next Fulton County Superior Court judge. I'll bring a foundation of respect to our courtrooms, and I'll work hard every day to make our neighborhoods safer, as I do every day. That's why my candidacy has been endorsed by so many elected officials and community leaders. I hope to earn your support, your prayers, and your vote for Fulton County Superior Court Judge on August 11th. For more information about me and our candidacy, please go to my website, MelanieLeftridgeHarris.com. And thank you for letting me come back and finish.
Sure, sure. We wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you to both you, Judge Harris and Judge Rabowski Houston. We appreciate you joining us for the evening. You're welcome to stay. We're on our final race, the race for Fulton County District Attorney. You're welcome to stay, or if you have other obligations, we hope to catch you again in the future. Good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I see that Mr. Howard has joined us. I'm not sure if Ms. Willis has made it on yet, but we will go ahead and move on to the race for District Attorney in Fulton County. And since we are going in alphabetical order anyway, we will go ahead and start with Mr. Howard. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, and thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
If you would like to give the viewers a 2-minute opening remarks, now's your time to do so.
Well, first of all, thank you all for holding this forum, giving people an opportunity to get a chance to hear from candidates directly. I hope this doesn't take away from my time, but it is difficult to start the program without acknowledging John Lewis, who was eulogized today, and also the death of our Herman Cain. But my name is Paul Howard, Jr. I'm the Fulton County District Attorney. And I have to say, it's been a real privilege for me to serve as District Attorney in Fulton County, one of the greatest counties in our country, and also as District Attorney for the city of Atlanta, one of the most amazing cities in America. The reason that we are amazing is because we have done something in our county that few other counties can match, and that is our populations have increased while at the same time crime has been reduced. Since I've been in office, the population of the city of Atlanta has increased by 26%. The population of Fulton County has increased by 47%. At the same time, the violent crime rate in Atlanta has dropped by 70%, and the overall crime rate has dropped by 62%. In Fulton County, in fact, 6 of our municipalities are recognized among the most 50 safest municipalities in the state of Georgia. So in 1997, I promised that I would work to get rid of the violence, and this is what has happened. But we've got some new challenges now, and one of those challenges involves the death of African-American men and women from hand of police officers, because the statistics show that African-American men and women are 7 times more likely to face death at the hands of officers here in our county. We must do something about it. We can start by being truthful and not making agreements with police unions. I ask you to give me an opportunity to get back in office. Our Fulton County DA's office is one of the best DA's offices in the country. We are bold, we are diverse, and we're inclusive. Thank you all very much for this opportunity to address you tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. And I should have warned you to listen out for the buzzer. So I've been making a mistake of not warning people all night. So.
All right.
I don't see that Ms. Willis has made it on yet. I know she had a previous engagement, but we will go on without her, and if she can join us a little bit later, great. Mr. Howard, we're going to go right into the questioning portion since we don't have Ms. Willis with us yet. I'm going to pose the first question, and that is, what are your thoughts on the district attorney's role in decreasing the school to prison pipeline?
Well, I believe that the district attorney is the person who serves as the gatekeeper of criminal justice in our community. And I ask people to look at not what people are proposing, but to look at what the DA's office has done. We are the only DAs in the country that has expanded our functions. First function of the DA is to hold defendants accountable. But we have, and I installed a second component, and that is keeping our communities safe by developing crime prevention programs. And that's what we've been doing. And we have been working on programs with our young people to intercept that pipeline. We've created, I believe it looks like in total, about 12 different programs working with young people, working with our communities to interrupt the pipeline. Because what we feel, and what I've always felt, is our goal is not simply to put people in jail, but it is to make our communities a safer place to live. And the way that you do that is by interjecting some intervention in the school to prison pipeline.
Thank you so much for your response. I'm going to go right ahead into the second question, unless Ms. Willis, are you on yet? I don't believe she is. So next question then to you, Mr. Howard. What efforts have you instituted in your office to most effectively combat crimes against women and children?
I am so glad for that question, because we have created the first crimes against women and children's unit in the entire state. We've got an entire section of our office, investigators, lawyers, and administrators who only work on crimes as they relate to women and children. You know, people thought in the past that you could never get someone convicted of a rape charge in Fulton County. But we have shown that that is exactly not true. In fact, our conviction rate in that unit has been as high as 92%. The other thing that we've done is we've created the first sex trafficking unit in the entire state. And what we do is that we investigate and prosecute cases involving sex trafficking. And unfortunately, most of our victims are young women. The other thing that we've added in our office, we also have a cold case rape sex kit unit. And what we've been doing is, unfortunately, we had about 3,200 rape kits at Grady Hospital that were never turned over to the GBI. We managed to get them turned over. Once those rape kits were evaluated, we found 151 cases involving defendants.
Okay, and I think that's your time. Is that right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Howard, thank you for your response. Next question, how have you, or how has your office, I should say, bridged the growing divide between law enforcement and the communities that they serve?
I think we lost them.
Uh-oh, did we lose Mr. Howard?
Here he is.
Mr. Howard, you're on mute. We still can't hear you. Oh,
Can you hear me now?
yep, you're good now.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I couldn't tell where you last heard me comment on.
I think
I was talking.
Yeah, I think you were talking, but your time ran up too, just as you were ending your response. So we moved on to the next question.
Okay. All right.
You want me to repeat the question?
I didn't hear the next question. I didn't.
Oh,
hear it
I'm
at all.
sorry. So you couldn't hear me either. Okay, well let me repeat the question then. How has your office, or how will your office bridge the growing divide between law enforcement and the communities that they serve?
I think that's a very important question. I think it's one of the most important questions in this race. We have to face the facts. We're not going to make any progress in this area until we face the facts. And the facts are, there's a problem in Fulton County. There's a problem in our country. There is systematic racism. There is bias against Black men and Black women. We've got a real critical issue with police unions. And if we do not get that solved, we can never achieve real reform in the area. So what I'm advising is that we not just talk about the problem, but we would establish rules, statutes and policies that change where we are today. For instance, one of the things that we've got to do is pass a state law that allows prosecutors to indict police officers without waiting for a grand jury. This is one of the most critical issues of our generation. John Lewis talked about it in 1963, and his last letter that was published today, he's still talking about police brutality. It's something that we've got to fix.
Thank you so much for that response. I'm trying to see if we have Ms. Willis. I still don't think she's with us. Mr. Howard, the floor is yours. If you'd like to, that's all the questions we have for you. If you'd like to give a 2-minute concluding remark, just to let the viewers know about your candidacy, why they should vote for you. The floor is yours.
Well, as I mentioned in each one of these forums, right now, we're all confined and being subjected to this virus, and it's been very deadly. And so my heart goes out to all of the families that have lost members. But one of the things about this virus, what it is displayed to us, is when there's a lack of leadership, how deadly it becomes. And that's what I provide. I provide experienced, innovative leadership. I'm not just talking about things that I plan to do, but you can look at my record and you can see things that have already been done. And that's in complete opposition to my opponent, who is talking about criminal justice reform, but who has never developed one criminal justice reform program. And that's why I ask people to really consider the records. If we're going to make change in what now has become the most important challenge, I believe, of our century, police brutality, we've got to have somebody who is accustomed to making big change. And that's what I've done all during my legal career. I will continue to do the same thing. There is no DA in this country who will make the community safer or to make you feel safer than Paul Howard. And I ask people to please put me back in office again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Howard, and I appreciate you joining us. I know that you had a busy schedule this evening, and we appreciate you taking the time out to join us. Does anyone know if Ms. Willis made it on? If not, we're going to go ahead and start our conclusion. Okay, thank you.
I don't see her.
Vacation, we don't have her on. All right, well, thank you so much to all of our candidates who took the time to join us this evening. I know today was a somber day for many of us as we really celebrated and mourned at the same time the loss of the great Congressman John Lewis. His impart will stay with us. What he has given us, this nation, this world, is something truly remarkable, and I hope that his spirit will live on. I'm going to give you a final quote from Mr. Lewis, and then I'd like to open the floor up to our league president, Chrissy Reddick, to give her concluding remarks. John Lewis: "The vote is the most powerful, nonviolent change agent you have in a democratic society. You must use it because it is not guaranteed. You can lose it." I hope that we all remember Mr. Lewis's words. I hope that we all remember that ordinary people truly can have an extraordinary change and can impart extraordinary change in the world. And it starts in part with our vote. Remember to go to the polls. Polls are now open, both Fulton and Gwinnett County. You can vote early. You can vote via absentee ballot. And election day is August 11th. Thanks again to all of our candidates who've joined us. Thanks to all of my and fellow members of the Junior League of Gwinnett and North Fulton Counties. Special thank you to Ms. Swift this evening for keeping us on time. Thank you to Aaron O'Donnell, our VP of Communications, and again to Kendall Ingram, who has been doing everything to run a tight ship with all of our tech work tonight. Ms. Reddick, our Junior League president, is here with us and would like to give some concluding remarks.
Hi, thank you, Regina, for giving us that quote from Mr. John Lewis. That was a touching way to end this on such a somber day, as you said. I wanted to just say thank you to everyone who joined us this evening for our very first nonpartisan runoff election town hall. Thank you especially to all of the candidates who joined us in spirited discussions about issues facing the communities that are served by the Junior League of Gwinnett and North Fulton Counties. It was an absolute privilege to host all of you this evening. And I also want to express my gratitude to Regina Matthews, to Mimi Swift, both of whom serve on our State Public Affairs Committee, and Erin O'Donnell and Kendall Ingram, as Regina has already mentioned, on our communications team, for all of their hard work in making this event happen, because it wouldn't have without them. So I hope that this event has helped inform viewers so that they can make an informed decision in these Gwinnett and Fulton County runoff elections. And that's it. So thank you again. Stay safe and have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.